Okay, well, so I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about like some of your influences and stuff like that.
Sure.
Um, One of the things I always ask people is what is the first record that they bought with their own money? Mainly because,
Oh,
it's a special
yeah,
thing when you save up and
yeah.
you're like, this is the first thing I bought, not the first thing you heard or your dad let
Well,
you borrow or whatever.
yeah. So when I was about 11, we did an AC/DC camp, right at the School of Rock that I was going to. And as a kind of like cool, like one of the things that was awesome about School of Rock, or at least my music director that I had at the time, was he was very interested in making sure that every student knows the cultural significance of what it is we were studying and looking at, like whether it was like Santana and the
Sure.
Bay Area's kind of whole like
Yeah, you
psychedelic.
got a little bit of history.
Yeah, exactly. It was like the music and why we're learning it, and then the cultural significance of said thing. But then like there was also like learning about how you listen to music. Like now you have MP3 files because at the time Spotify
Yeah.
wasn't a thing. And so he brought in a vinyl record of Back in Black, and they had a record player at the school. It was like one of those little Crosley ones,
Mm.
and we sat down and like we listened to the record, and like he dropped the needle on the thing, and you heard the crackle, and it was like oh my
Yeah.
god, this is crazy. And then like what he did is he turned the volume all the way down, and then you lean into the needle, and you can
You
still
can hear it
hear
coming through the needle, yeah.
through the needle. And that blew my mind. And so like the next thing I did was I
So isn't that
basically,
like magic? You're just like, what
I know,
wizardry is this?
I
You
know.
put a black flat thing down and a
Uh,
stabby mechanism, and it makes all
yeah,
this beautiful nuanced sound.
yeah.
Yeah, I really
Stereo,
love. What's that?
how it's stereo because like each side of the groove is the right and the left channel,
Yeah,
and
and just that you've seen that close up picture of it looks like the Grand Canyon, and that's like the groove of the
yeah.
record.
Mhm.
I always really love that opening scene from Almost Famous, or not the opening scene, but the in the beginning where um, the sister bounces out and she's like in a fit and moves away to go to California or whatever,
Yeah,
and she leaves all her little brother the records, and like she's like light a candle and listen to this, and he's putting it on. Just love that scene because that's really like the beauty of hearing music, and
yeah.
that experience is
So
really great.
the next thing that I did was immediately went out to the first garage sale like on a weekend, and was like looking for records and looking for a record player. And I found a record player the first place I went to, and it was
Hmm.
$5, and it was one of those big like probably like late 80s, early 90s ones that has the cassette deck on it.
Yeah, the big thing, the
Yeah,
box. It's like
yeah,
the
exactly.
receiver, double
Yeah,
cassette deck, and then the
and
record
a
player on top.
radio. Yep, and all those things. And
Great.
I didn't even know if it worked. I just was like $5, like sure, like let's try
Sure.
it out. And I got like a record or something. I honestly don't remember what the record was that I got at the place.
With it.
It was probably like Linda Ronstadt or something that like is like
That wouldn't have been bad.
no, I know exactly, but like it's like one of those ones where like you find them
Sure.
when you're crate digging, and like now I have like so many Linda Ronstadt. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah. But
it's
so, your first experience with the first record you ever bought wasn't really even the record, it was the record player.
yeah, it was the record, getting the record player, and then what I did was I went out and I bought Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon,
There you have it.
because we were doing a Dark Side of the Moon show where we were
Yeah.
performing the front to back Dark Side of the Moon.
Dang.
Yeah. And like I was like super like we got to experience that like firsthand, and so
Mhm.
we were in it. And yeah, so I got that. And then so I would say that's probably the first record that I have that I remember getting.
Yeah.
Other ones that I'm sure as soon as I got the record player, my parents were like, "Oh, we got to get some vinyl records too." So my dad brings in like Van Halen 1 and 2, and like I get to experience that and listen to that
Mhm.
for the first time. And my mom brings in Heart, and all this like
Great.
Culture Club and like the
Yeah.
B-52s and like all this like cool stuff like but like I didn't really understand the or like the context like of like new wave and all these other genres because like I was still back in like the 50s 60s 70s rock.
Yeah.
I hadn't really at this point like I didn't listen to pop music, things that were happening in the modern era like I was not really listening to. So like there's a huge gap in time like
Yeah.
I I think it was like 2008 to 2015. I don't think I listened to anything modern.
Oh,
uh,
wow.
but mostly
But
because
nowadays, I assume you are because you're.
well, yeah, I've gone back and listened to a lot of stuff that came out in that time, and I have found like my favorites.
Yeah,
Uh,
I see a few of them on the wall behind you.